It's too fast! How could you even tell what's on?
I can tell.
Back!
Too late, I'm in the 40s. Gotta go around the horn. It's faster.
Oh boy. Whew. Alright, you know, the older you get, the more noise you gotta make when you sit down. It's universal truth. So, I mean, it's been a while. It's, for all of you who don't know, it's me, Amir, from Toy Snowman. So, it's just been a while since I made a video that just talked about, like, what's happening in the industry, what's up, from, you know, toy retailer's perspective. Got a few notes over here. So, first things first, I was going to talk about essentially, you know, pre-orders, delays. First things first is, well, let's talk about pre-orders. Like, a lot of people are getting pre-order fatigue. And I understand, like, every toy manufacturer is putting in pre-orders, and your pre-orders are taking longer, and they're going farther and farther than before. So, you know, something you order in January, now it's normal to receive it in Christmas or January of the next year, and you're like, wow, I'm pre-ordering something so far in advance. Kind of new for all of us, right? So all of us are like trying to like learn and see, like, do I really want to pre-order this? And well, I'm here to convince you that you probably should be. And you're probably thinking like, oh yeah, you're just a retailer and you're just trying to take my money. And I'm like, well, yes, I am trying to take your money.
Money, money, money.
But I'm also trying to like tell you that they're more important now than ever for not just retailers, but even you as the customer. Because right now you think like, oh, maybe I'll just pre-order it when, you know, when it's closer to the date of arrival. So like, oh, okay, it's coming in December, I'll order it in November, it'll be fine. And I want to say, like, I really don't recommend waiting till the last minute to pre-order. I mean, if you want to wait until they're in stock, that's also something else. That's totally fine. I think that's normal for a lot of people, and they don't care to wait. But I do think that it will get worse if you pre-order later on, because a lot of, like, so as a retailer, we fulfill orders like first in, first out. So like if you're the first order, you get your product first. You know, some businesses are different. Like they're like, I believe it's called like LIFO, last in, first out kind of thing. So like a vending machine, like you put the candy in the vending machine, and the last chocolate bar you put on the vending machine is the first one that you buy, if that makes sense. But I don't know. So we're more of a gumball machine, where the first gumball that you put into the machine is the first gumball that's sold. Did I just compare my business to a gumball machine? Okay, so it's sort of like a gumball machine. So if you put your pre-order in later on, there's going to be a bunch of other gumballs under you that are going to get sold and shipped out before you. So by delaying on your pre-orders, you end up putting yourself at a later shipment, essentially. Right now, not many stores are getting their entire allocation. So like stores like me, we order from multiple distributors because, well, we don't want to be so late, and we'd rather have products coming in from multiple places. And even though it costs us more, it's just safer to not put all your gumballs in one basket, right? You receive shipment from another distributor, and that distributor is like, here's, I don't know, let's say 100 G.I. Joes, and you're like, all right, sure, 100 G.I. Joes. So the first 100 customers get that G.I. Joes. You know, the first 100 orders get fulfilled, but then who knows when your next shipment is coming in? Because like honestly, like, at this point, it's very hard. Like everybody just saying it's either delayed or it's coming this month. And then when the month finishes, they just put another date, and then you're like, I guess it's not coming in.
I expect nothing, and I'm still let down.
That's the situation for retailers that we're facing. So, example here, this is the infamous Croc Master. So I'm just gonna open it up. So, like, for us, we've received 10% of our allocation, not even, from one of our distributors, and it's like, all right, 10%. So that means the first 10% of orders that were placed are gonna be fulfilled, right? So, crocodile. So it's like, all right, so the first 10% get their products, sure. But then the other 90% who, like, let's say they decided to order a few days later, they're not going to be in the top 10%. So then they're going to get their shipment in the next batch. So then, you know, you get your next order in, and you're like, okay, here's the next order. So then we gotta fulfill the next 10% of orders, right? It ends up just creating like a backlog where it's like, you know, we're fulfilling all the orders that we get, and oh, they changed the back. I never realized that. So this is like, what is this? So like, oh my god, this is gonna be forever to get in. So, like, most retailers, we just want to, ideally we'd get all our shipment from one supplier, and, you know, we'd ship out to all orders to all our customers. But the truth is that we don't get it all from one supplier. We have to ship it out from multiple suppliers. So what happens is that the first order that comes in is gonna be the first that we fulfill. The second order comes in, is the next, comes in the next boat, and or next shipment, and we fill it accordingly. So I mean, that's why right now pre-orders, like pre-orders are just too important right now because it allows us to say, okay, we're gonna put in our orders in, and we know how many we're gonna receive from what multiple suppliers. But then also, if you start pre-ordering a bit late, some retailers don't account for the late orders, let's say. So then they're like,
who's in charge here?
okay, they'll put in their shipment in once they finished what they thought that they had ordered. You know, they said they sold 100. They're like, okay, we sold 100 in pre-orders. And then 2-3 months later on, there's another surge of orders because people are like, oh, it's going to release in 2-3 months. A lot of those retailers, they haven't ordered the extra that's above 100. So then once they see that they're having more orders, they put in their order. But that order is now really far back in the queue from the supplier and distributors. And let's just say that like trying to ask for your second run of supplies is really delayed right now in the industry. So I really don't recommend like trying to play the wait until, because you're all not going to get fulfilled at the same time. Like it's not we're all going to like snap our fingers and all the shipments are going to arrive on that time. We're going to receive 50% of it, then another 50%, and then another supplier's going to give us 25%, then he's going to give us 75%. As it goes, we just keep funneling all the orders into our queue, and when it's all done, we'll have a bunch of extras and we'll put it into in-stock orders. But if you're patient, then it doesn't matter. You can hold out as long as you like, and it makes no difference, because as far as I'm concerned, none of my suppliers have been canceling any orders. I mean, we're very well covered for that, for the product, so that's perfectly fine for us. It's just that if you want it early, it's very hard to ask for it early and put an order in late. No supplier, no retailer is capable of fulfilling that request at this time. Next thing is delays. So with pre-orders, the delays, like, oh, you expected it in July. Manufacturers are pushing their pre-order dates farther. And I think a lot of manufacturers are padding their pre-order dates, and they're giving us like 6 months differences. Like, oh, we're expecting in June, it arrives in January, and you're like, oh. And I think that a lot of them are doing that is because they don't know what's going to happen, if there's going to be another obstruction. So like China, like recently went into lockdown and is trying to come out of a lockdown. So they're like their two biggest cities, Beijing and Shanghai. They went into lockdown, and obviously that's going to affect a lot of the making of the products, because a lot of this is made in China. And with them being closed, that just pushes everything else to 1 or 2 months into the production backlog. And then manufacturers are just like, okay, that's 2 months delay, and then they're going to ask their supplier to, or their manufacturers to hurry it up. But
Get over here!
At the end of the day, there's already a queue, so they can't really speed it up if they're on lockdown. What's happening with the shipping situation here in the West? Well, so California and the rest of the West Coast is really backed up. They're having a lot of trouble getting in some products because there's just not enough people to load or disload the cargo and to move it around. So we're having a bit of a bottleneck there. A lot of companies have started moving a lot more to the east and moving products, all the way to the East Coast. So like here in Montreal and New York and, the Eastern distributors. So we have New York, Montreal, and any of the Eastern ports. And it's also starting to create a bit of a backlog here. But this is also why sometimes you're seeing toy releases. It's starting in the east of US and Canada, and make its way west. It's just because those shipping containers are making their route all the way to the east side, and then getting unloaded and being distributed to the rest of the country. So I expect the east side to also start to slow down, just because so many companies are starting to do that. Which explains why, my company and a few other companies were able to get our shipments what seems like early, just like our G.I. Joe release, Storm Shadow, Spirit, and Cobra Officer. Like, we got that wave in relatively early to what we were expecting it to. But at the same time, like, some stores are like, oh, we didn't get any yet. I'm like, because they probably ordered from a Western supplier, so somewhere in California, probably. And because of that, they are just delayed for, who knows, infinite amount of time.
To infinity and beyond!
I do expect every order to be fulfilled from every retailer. I don't think any retailer is actually having an allocation problem. All the manufacturers are producing enough products for everybody. So as long as you have an order in, I would say 99% secured from any retailer. I mean, for us, we're expecting to have a few hundred units of each figure toy that we ever get. So just to way over, because essentially we're ordering from this is half of our supply, and half of our orders. The next two suppliers are going to give us also halves of all our orders, so we'll definitely have more than enough. And I think that that's going to be true for everybody. I don't think anybody should be panicking.
Sheriff, this is no time to panic.
And thinking that they're going to have to pay, ridiculous prices and...
Money.
You're like, oh, these gonna be like, no, I think we're all gonna get it at some point or another. It's just that it's more of a patience game and dealing with delays, really. Yeah, so just that's a quick update on what's happening in the industry right now. So we'll be able to ship out the first half of these G.I. Joes, and when the next shipment comes in, we'll ship in the second half of the orders that we have. For Crocmaster, honestly, we just have to wait and see how it goes, because the first half we received was a very small shipment, like less than 10% of actual orders. No cancellations or anything, just we're just waiting for that. So I don't know, guys, just bear with us, and me and the rest of the team will hopefully get it all done soon. And yeah, thank you. Stay frosty, everybody.